Ghana became the first nation in sub-Saharan Africa to attain independence, a small nation with powerful destiny, chosen to ignite the flame of freedom across Africa and among black people around the world. Many believe Ghana's story is no accident, a nation positioned symbolically at the center of the earth, where the Greenwich Meridian meets the equator near Tema, a nation many describe as blessed with purpose.
It's not by accident that this nation was the first nation south of the Sahara to have freedom and to have independence. A little nation made up of not that many people compared to other places in Africa, but somehow the hand of God chose this place to be the place where the freedom will come to the people of Africa. And not just for the people of Africa, but for black people all over the world. This nation is also blessed because we happen to be the nation that exactly is at the very center of the planet. The nation where the 0-degree meridian, what we call the Greenwich Meridian, passes, and it passes through Tema, and the places that connect with the zero equator. So exactly the very center of this planet. That is what this country is. There is something special about us. Not because we are special people, but because the creator of heaven and earth chose that this land will be a place where something great will happen, not just for Africa, but for the world.
But barely 2 decades after independence, the promise of freedom was fading, corruption was growing, economic hardship was deepening, public trust in leadership had collapsed. Across the country, frustration and anger continued to rise.
We won independence in 1957, and 22 years exactly after that, 1979, on June 4, something happened. It actually started 20 days earlier on May 15th. And what happened on May 15th that led to June 4 was clearly not an accident. And the very fact that it took 22 years after independence for that to happen itself again is significant. Because the gentleman that led that process on the day was also born exactly on 22nd of June. So there's something significant that happened 22 years after our independence. That happened because this nation that was blessed, a nation that was destined to bless the world, was drifting into darkness. Selfishness, greed had taken over completely. Leadership had been reduced to nothing but just me. It's all about me. How to orchestrate, how to cheat, how to lie, how to exploit. That's what leadership became. And when leaders became a country engulfed in indiscipline, in selfishness and greed, and one man was chosen. And this man, right from his childhood, was a man who believed in justice, a man who hated greed, who hated lying, who hated exploitation, who cannot stand people being cheated, who had the conscience to fight for his country and his nation. And God used him to do something, to set a flame. And that beautiful flame that is blazing there is simply a signal of the fact that a nation blessed was being taken down, and something needed to happen to set out on that motion.
On May 15, 1957, a failed uprising signaled the beginning of a political storm. 20 days later, on 4th June, Ghana witnessed one of the most significant events in its political history, a movement supporters described as revolt against indiscipline, corruption, and injustice.
That process that started on June 4, 1979, actually is exactly the foundation that has led us to this democracy we see today. This democracy that has become enduring today. Again, it came through the instrument of that one man. That one man, after May 15th, when he was literally on the point of being killed, executed, because according to what he had done, he had to be court-martialed, which was treason. So he, together with the 6 others who were with him, was supposed really to be executed. stood bold, confident, and said he was prepared to die. Why? Because what he was fighting for was not about himself, was not about his young daughter who was just 1 year old, Zanetta Rollins, was not about his immediate family, was not about his friends. It was about a country of millions of people that needed to see hope, that needed to see a leadership of truth and selflessness. He was prepared to die. And those who are prepared to die for what they believe are those who truly are worthy to be leaders.
At the center of the uprising stood a young flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings. To supporters, he represented courage, sacrifice, and accountability.
But he was born because an individual has fire in his belly, his conscience pricking, and the fight for his country, the truth, that people should be liberated, that fire that blazed in his heart, that was the beginning of this party.
During the commemoration at Banda, in the Bono region, the NDC General Secretary urged party members to remain faithful to the ideals upon which the movement was founded, values of discipline, patriotism, accountability, and selfless leadership.
So my plea to all people who are aspiring for leadership of our country, because such desperation only leads to a nation going down. The destiny of our country is at stake. That fire that is blazing must continue to blaze, because what we have seen so far, we calling it great under the reset, I believe is just a tip of the iceberg. The real transformation of the country is about to begin. The real progress and transformation is on the way. That is why those who aspire for leadership must have this bigger vision and stop the petty and stop the greed and the thinking that it's just about me. That will not be a blessing. June 4 brought us something. In spite of the pain, in spite of the difficulty, which happens. Even when Jesus entered into the temple, all kinds of things, there was pain, there was regret. That is what life is. For some of those who clearly were innocent people, we can always say, sorry, it was not intended. But the good outweighed the bad. And on the back of that, this party has come. And so we must constantly remember that fire that blazes. And remember, this is bigger than us. This is bigger than us as individuals. This is bigger than us. This is about country. That's why selfishness, greed, self-centeredness must go down, especially if you aspire for the leadership of this great party.
The General Secretary also praised former President John Evans Atta Mills and President John Dramani Mahama for what he described as humility and commitment to service. According to him, the true leadership is not driven by greed or desperation for power, but by sacrifice and responsibility.
And we've been blessed. Apart from he emerging naturally, the leaders that have followed him so far in Prof. Mills, natural emergence. No orchestration, no manipulation, no passing corners, trying to deceive his way into leadership. No. He actually was not even interested in leadership. He had to be approached 3 different times to even accept the position of vice president. That is the spirit of the NDC. That is the spirit that came from June 4. No selfishness, not greed, but a desire to serve, because that is what is that when the time comes. The same for John Mahama. He also ran away literally from the leadership. It took a lot of effort to convince him to become vice president. Now, when you see people who say we don't want the leadership, those are genuine leaders. When people show too much greed, too much desperation for leadership, they are not real leaders. That's what we saw in Akufo-Addo. That's what we saw in Bawumia. And that has led to the cases that have followed this country between the 8 years that they've been here. Because you are desperate, you lead the country into shame, into regret.
Nearly 5 decades later, the flame of 4th June still burns in Ghana's political memory. To some, it symbolizes revolution. To others, accountability and sacrifice. A reminder that nations are built not by selfishness, but by service, not by greed, but by truth, discipline, and patriotism.
I want to thank you for the this month of June. We'll see a lot of things that NDC, because that is our month, the month of June. So apart from June 4, in the next 6 days, we have June 10th, which is the party's anniversary. June 19th will be the Cadence Day. June 22nd will be the birthday of the founder, Jerry John Rawlings, and will be marked as a national event for the party. We want to encourage all of you to be with us, even as we and the selflessness that this country requires of us, so that that fire that is blazing would even blaze more for the children of Ghana and for the future of tomorrow. Thank you very much.